The tale of Gravy Bones continues here at Arcane Games and Events. One has fallen, but two remain, both divvied up between the semifinals matches. The one we are going to watch, however, is going to be a little bit tough for the Bone Stir. It's going to be up against Cindra Dracai of Retribution in the hands of Anthony Zichella, otherwise known as Del Taco from Taco Time, a podcast that has kind of gone the wayside now that Anthony is a father like so many of us fab players.
Yeah. Definitely hard to make it out to Flesh and Blood every night if you've got the kids to watch over, but making it here and making it count, making it all the way up to the quarters or semis rather, and hopefully for his sake up to the finals. Looks like he's got a good matchup.
The bracket is definitely looking good for Anthony. He's just been slaughtering Gravy Bones all day long. If dying once was not good enough, he's been killing them twice, over and over again. Anthony is very happy with the advent of High Seas, but not because he wants to buy the new cards. He wants to kill the new cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get him out of here. Stay draconic, stay true.
And it's important to mention that Anthony is at his first ever AGE Open in Season 3. And he's making quite a splash right here, killing Gravy Bones right and left, trying to get as many points as he possibly can and slip his way into the top 16. On the other side of the bracket, we've got yet another Gravy Bones matchup, and it's a rematch from Swiss. Ryan Brown took Zachary Wallach down pretty handily in the last round of Swiss. We'll see if he can do it again. What are these players playing for, though? It's $400 for first place, $200 for second place, third through fourth at this point is all that's kind of on the line here. It's $100 and also 20 AGE points. So this semifinal match is the difference of $100 and 5 AGE points. Everybody in the top 8 bracket at this point is going home feeling really good about their position in the race to the Players' Championship, but there's also cash on the line, Michael.
Yeah, the cash, the points, it all matters here, and especially for someone like Anthony, who, if he manages to get first place here with 30 points, is almost in the top 16 already, and if he's able to show up to one more and do it again, I think he could make the Players' Championship. He would have a big hill to climb, rather, but you know, anything can happen when you read the meta like he did and just slice your way to the top with that Cindra.
And there's a couple other options to show up for to clench those last few points. For Anthony, it's going to be the 13th of July and the 9th of August. Those are the last two AG Opens in Los Angeles before the top 16 cut and the Players' Championship in September. Both of those will be at Top Deck Keep here in Riverside, California, the very building that we are sitting in right now. If you are on the East Coast, however, you can join us on June 28th, which is a Saturday at Grave Troll Games, a brand new store, not just to us, but also to the world. They just opened up on the 1st of June. Store owner Katie is sporting a crazy business model, according to some people in the region. She is only going to be carrying Flesh and Blood and Pokemon. No Magic the Gathering, the typical cash cow for trading card game stores. So we want to support that. We're going to be there at the end of the month. We will be streaming that event and seeing what Grave Troll has to offer. Sounds like our players are ready, Michael. Should we get into the semifinal?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Crank that music, folks. It's Cindra Dracai of Retribution on the left side of your screen, piloted by Anthony Del Taco Zichella versus Peter Buddensiek, the man from Las Vegas, our favorite, as he would say, crackhead from LV, and he's out here piloting Gravy Bones, Shipwrecked Looter. It seems like Peter is awfully blessed when it comes to AG Opens. Pretty much everyone he drives out for, he ends up in the finals, but Anthony's going to have something to say about that.
Right, he will. And the other thing I just wanted to mention is, as much as Anthony has been eating these Gravy Bones for breakfast today, one of the most feared matchups for Gravy Bones is this Ninja, and a lot of the Gravy Bones players, despite knowing that it's not great, tech specifically for this. So I'm always curious to see how the Gravies have devised a game plan into a deck that can draw cards every turn after hitting your ally. Are you able to string together the disruption and the damage output to do something meaningful while your opponent gets free reign on the card draw?
I tend to think that Peter's more red-slanted version of Gravy Bones is better suited to deal with Cindra, namely because there's just more cards in his deck that will provide a little bit of disruption. There's Command and Conquers, which you typically don't see in the more ally-slanted Gravy Bones list. Let's call it the Buddy Boy Gravy Bones deck.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what the Gravy Bones puzzle is to solve right now. How do I face against my worst matchup and make it not so horrible? And I think that's what someone like Peter would have been sitting down and cooking when building this deck. So I am very excited to see what he has in store for us and if he can say something about the supposed worst matchup in the game for Gravy Bones.
If I were to equate Peter to a horse, which I'm not doing, it's just the expression. I heard it from his own mouth that this deck was actually constructed by Yuki Lee Bender and not him. He kind of ported it over and had a couple cards difference, but I'm sure that was her consideration when she crafted this list that we see before us.
Yeah.
Anthony did have choice of turn order. Remains to be seen whether he chose first or second here. Both players kind of thinking as though they're on the play. I think he put Peter on the play. I think he just wanted second, he being Anthony, so that he can make the first tempo swing of the game.
Yeah, it's an interesting consideration. Of course, Gravy Bones loves going first to establish the allies, but Cindra, being so adept at clearing allies, might not care so much and might be happy to, as you said, take the tempo in exchange for just needing to do a little bit of janitorial duty on the first turn of their turn of the game.
Badgerooni's in chat saying, let's go DT, so sexy based and good at this game. All accurate things about Anthony Zichella. Badgeroony, I'm pretty sure you're Joel Racino's the third, in which case, what the heck are you not doing here, my friend? But glad to see you in chat and supporting our Odyssey local DT.
We've got 2 minutes on the clock and no game actions taken yet. Not sure what we're waiting for, but
both players just looking at their watch, probably unconfirmed from our producer that they have the go-ahead, taking a drink of water, making sure they're nice and hydrated, which I do respect, and the fist bump has been extended, and we are underway, folks. Kunai of Retribution is the first action of this game. Anthony did decide to take the play, probably trying to prevent Peter from establishing too many buddy boys on that first turn of the game.
I also really like this because Cindra's kind of hard to block all the damage of in turn one, and so you can sort of just get a bit of a life lead here, especially into a deck that could just draw a bunch of allies and not be able to block.
Down to 39 is Peter Buddensiek. Anthony very happy to have drawn one of those probably few blues that are in his deck. I will say, though, I know that Anthony has been on a Spreading Flames variant of Cindra for some time now. He never quite committed to that red line variant that did so well in Memphis at the early outset of the Hunted meta.
Yeah. Very, there's so many decks that have these multiple ways to build them, and Cindra being one of them. Choosing the right number of blues, how much do you want to be able to pay for the daggers naturally and kind of even out your game plan? How much do you want to have this red line consistency of aggressive plays? Losing a little bit off the top end in exchange.
Dagger flicked on this combat chain link. Ronin Renegade's link has technically hit thanks to flick knives, and Peter has taken 3 damage on this turn 0. Not a bad shake for a deck that typically wants to make the first tempo swing.
Yeah. The ability to potentially trigger Mask of Momentum on turn 0 or turn 1, if you prefer that.
It's an important moment to mention Peter's mental state because there was an incredibly long judge call in the last round. Peter, a very clean player in his own right, not proud of the fact that he was able to play that Saltwater Swell without paying for it. That is definitely not a situation he likes, but he's got to turn off all of that in his brain right now. He's got to focus on the match at hand.
Anthony just asking for 2 more cards. Peter happily handing them over as the life total is now 37 to 40. Anthony's got a card in arsenal, and Peter drawing up to 4 cards.
Now, even though this is a difficult matchup for the Gravy Bones player, they still do have a bit of a silver bullet at their disposal if Peter brought it in the sideboard. Seafloor Salvage is one of those cards that can banish a kunai from the graveyard and really make it give the Cindra player a hard time for the entirety of the game.
I was actually able to get that off as my Puffin deck against Travis Wagner at our local events last week.
Absolutely savage. Anthony going for an early block of this Dragon Scalar Flight Path on a blue golden tipple, covering that up nicely. Still no blood drawn on his side of the board. Peter draws up and creates a gold token. 2 left floating and 3 cards with which to work. Activating Gravy Bones is Peter Buddensiek, discarding a Rigor Mortis. Should be bringing him down to 0 gold, if I'm not mistaken.
Starting with 1, getting 1 from the golden tipple, using 1 for the hero ability. Did he draw off of 1?
No, you're
So
right.
he's at 1.
No, you're right. You're right. An E strike and a blue left in the hand. Peter wondering if he wants to establish an ally board here. Yeah, Limpet Hop Along is going to go to the bottom of the deck in order to play this E strike. Draw a card is the chosen mode here. So just 5 coming at Anthony, and those 2 resources left in the pitch zone are kind of going to go the way of the birds.
Interesting. Maybe I like playing an ally, but of course that ally is a target for Mask of Momentum. So it could just be a choice to not put anything on the board until you can flood the board. And I think I like that. But this is this is an example of why it's such a tricky matchup for Gravy Bones to play. Need to be very considerate about when you are putting those allies out on the board. You can't just play them willy-nilly like you can against other decks.
And you can't see through Peter's shoulder, but he has drawn up pretty red-handed. He's only got 1 blue in that hand. Anthony starting off with an Ignite. 2 go again. The next Draconic card he plays or activates costs 1 less. I think also the reason that Peter is not resolving either of those 2 allies in his graveyard at the moment is because they both have 1 health. And Anthony has a Kunai of Retribution on his board, so it would be a very easy removal for him, especially with an Ignite at the first attack on the combat chain.
Does make sense to me. And that Kunai coming through right now.
Comes in 4-1. Peter using that gold-baited hook right away, trying to prevent that Mask of Momentum earlier rather than later. It's a heads-up choice because that Flick Knives is what usually makes it so difficult. Anthony, without another dagger, cannot flick on this chain link. Ravenous Rabble is the follow-up, revealing a Fire Tenant strike first, so 4 go again is the follow-up.
Yeah, nice break point. So that one will very likely connect unless Peter wants to commit more armor or has a D-React in hand.
Taking 4 is Peter Buddensiek. He might be trying to go for a high roll on that. Excuse me, it's not going to be a high roll because he knows the top card of his deck. But if it is a blue, he's probably going to go Saltwater Swell into Conqueror of the High Seas, which could be absolutely devastating depending on how much setup Anthony tries to do on this turn.
And this is another moment where we get to see players make the choice of whether to play out their entire hand or go for the arsenal. We'll see how Anthony decides to play it at the end.
I like that Anthony started this combat chain so close to the middle of the board, probably indicating to Peter that it wouldn't go this wide, but here we are.
That's an interesting mind game you could play, Cindra, like starting it all the way over. Like, it's just one.
They started on their Mask of Momentum, and then you're like, oh boy, here we go. Right now, it's Rising Resentment. Another Draconic Head Jab coming in for 3, threatening to discount a card in Anthony's hand, but Peter calling the bluff. Looks like he's going to take 3 right here. Anthony, however, thinking about a Flick Knives in response.
I don't love it here because I'd rather just see it on the chain link that could keep Mask of Momentum alive.
Yep.
But you always want to stop and think, especially when you're at the top tables like this. Every decision matters when it comes to the game of Flesh and Blood.
And I love watching Anthony play at a slow clip like this because he is normally a guy that just hucks every single card in his hand down on the table. And watching him take his time and be patient usually means that I think Anthony's going to come out on top. He can be such a patient player when he wants to be.
Yeah, I think that he's usually just trying to rush through his game so he can go home to the kids. But in this case, he's locked in for the weekend. And yeah, this is some of the most patient play I've seen from him.
Anthony really in the tank. Flick or no flick? Peter has taken 3. Looks like no flick is the choice here. Will we get a banish on that Rising Resentment?
Doesn't look like it.
Looks like no. It's just an Art of the Dragon Blood.
And
Is not Draconic here, so it's just representing 4 vanilla damage.
No go again.
No go again, because it needs to be Draconic in order to be given go again.
He does have the boots available if Peter decides to let this hit.
I believe the boots say it has to be a Draconic thing to give it go again.
No, I think it's just an instant. Oh, if
it's
target
Draconic attack.
Excuse me, thank you.
This attack is not Draconic, which means that it's threatening Mask of Momentum, but
a safe time to allow the draw.
Exactly. Peter probably doesn't care about that here.
The damage, however, is starting to add up.
It's relevant, that's for dang sure. And Anthony does have 3 Draconic chain links here, so he is going to be able to go ahead and flick that kunai and then buy both of them, now that they're both in the yard, back for free. Peter descends on down to 27 on the flick. Anthony floating a resource here? What is the follow-up?
Yeah, I'm a little confused about this. Does he think that he can give this go again with the boots?
He might. His boots are in Japanese.
Uh-oh.
Oh, please have read the card, Anthony. Please have read the card. It could be another early judge call for Sleepy Connor.
Yeah.
He looks so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the background of Peter Buddensiek's player cam. He thinks the worst has already been dealt with. It's easy sailing here for Connor. Little does he know that here comes Anthony with a judge call. Maybe. We'll see.
No?
It's an ancestral empowerment to draw a card. Anthony, no, yeah.
Oh, he needed the resource to buy the... No?
I don't believe
I
so.
thought I saw 3 attacks on the chain link.
Yeah, there was a kunai of Retribution, there was an Ignite, and then there was also the Rising Resentment. So that is 3 Draconic chain links to buy
Anthony
the daggers
just,
back for free.
Getting that resource to flex on his opponent, Peter, just saying, look, I don't even need this chess piece. I can beat you naked.
Peter is definitely reeling here. His opponent is naked before him, bare-chested and burly-boned.
Speaking of bones, the Sawbones hits the graveyard.
Murderous Rabble is the follow-up here. We don't know what card this is, and it's a red. One go again is the ask. Peter giving a grimace to the top of his deck.
Yeah, and here we see the ratios come into play. Red so powerful on the combat chain, so weak on top of the deck when you're playing Gravy Bones. We're not looking for reds, we're looking for treasure.
And treasure does not come in the form of red cards,
No.
only yellows. 22 plays 34 in this, the semifinal of the June AG Open Series here in LA. Peter, red flooded in the hand, and he's just played a Ravenous Rabble. He's got himself a Call to the Grave to fuel the rest of this turn, but he really wanted to see a blue on the top so that he could resolve that Saltwater Swell.
Yeah, that's not... there's nothing he can do about that card right now. It's just stuck there, really gumming up his turn.
I think he's got to pivot to something else on this turn. He's got to let that Murderous Rabble go to the graveyard, resolve some allies. No, he's going for the
Just
Conqueror of the
7.
High Seas instead. This was the play line that he wanted to make. He wanted to be able to resolve that Saltwater Swell.
Of course.
And then go straight into the Conqueror of the High Seas with Go Again, but unfortunately, the top of the deck not cooperating for him. He had the opportunity for it, though. He had seen the blue on top with the Compass. Instead, he drew it, got rid of the ally, and sent Murderous Rabble.
Silver linings here, though. At least this is a breakpoint, and ninjas do not like to block things that say 7 on them. It's really tough with the block value of 2 on a lot of their cards to get there. So this will slow things down for Anthony,
And
deciding
Anthony
instead to just take it.
making the classic aggro player decision.
Yeah.
The amount of value I would give you by blocking this is far less than the amount of value you get by doing the damage and taking my arsenal card.
And I think that's why Peter went ahead and activated the hook despite not making a gold, just really like asking Anthony, please block this. There's so much value on the line. Please give me 3 cards. Anthony says, nah, you can have the 2 gold. You can have my arsenal. Don't care. We're going aggro.
A classic Del Taco decision. Ignite. Another start with Ignite in so many turns. 2 go again here. Discounting the next Draconic card played, next Draconic card played. Probably going to be a kunai unless Anthony has found himself a 1 cost in the hand.
Yeah, and still no fealty to speak of on the side of Anthony. Those cards can be so valuable for turning on a lot of the power cards in the Cindra deck. So
it's a quick dodge flexor's turn for Peter Buddensiek. In the reaction step, a blue pitched, quick dodge flexors blocks 2 on 2 here. Threatening an additional 4 block for the remainder of the turn.
really, really powerful card when you're going wide.
1 go again is the follow-up from the right-handed kunai of Retribution for Anthony. Oh, and Peter throws the quick dodge flexors in front of that as well. That indicates that he's wanting to pitch even more cards into these boots this turn.
Interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Of course, it does prevent any possibility of a Mask of Momentum trigger, but losing the value a little bit, I think it's okay.
It might be because Peter found himself yet another Conqueror of the High Seas in the hand. I don't know if I see 2 blues once again, though.
Yeah, if he just pitched his only other blue, this is sad for him.
And Peter losing a little bit of value on those flexors because he said no blocks to this Ronin Renegade.
Probably saving it for a more meaningful breakpoint, likely the Mask of Momentum or some other on-hit effect.
Fire Tenant strike first is the follow-up here. 3 go again, connects with Peter, down to 16. Now Mask of Momentum is threatened. It's a Burning Blade Dance, yet another Draconic Head Jab. 3 go again, on hit, Flick My Dagger.
Yeah, this is one of those power cards.
And it is coming in for 4 go again, thanks to Fire Tenant strike first, buffing it by 1. Peter
is this
posturing to take it. He's already gone to reaction step. A flick happens here, down to 15. Peter's going to take another 2, and Mask of Momentum is going to trigger.
Wow.
Peter is down to 13.
Down to
12. He might have double hit that flick.
Well, if
we're going to trust our players here.
2 daggers maybe came, or did he?
Okay. It's another flick. Sure.
Yeah, because the double daggers.
Peter's just indicated, yes, the Burning Blade Dance.
So I think the flick knives was not required there. I don't know if it's untapped, not used.
You might as well use the flick knives.
Well, no, because it sends them both.
No. The Burning Blade Dance only sends 1.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, so you have to flick.
Never mind.
If you want to send both of those daggers. And yeah, Peter is just hemorrhaging life here. 12 plays 27. He's got himself a really healthy graveyard, though. The boys are at the ready, but can they be deployed? Not right now because it's a red golden tipple. 3 go again.
Has Peter played an ally yet this game?
No.
Wow.
Gotta keep this on, but
So this is a very interesting game plan from Peter. Finally getting something that will be a little bit harder for Anthony to clear. The Chum. 6 life is a lot to work with.
3 go again here, drawing a card, creating a gold token.
That works if you discarded a card.
if I discarded an ally, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Dead threads.
Tapping Dead Threads to gain a resource here is Peter Buddensiek. And here comes the Saltwater Swell. Can he find the blue, though, in this very red flooded deck? It's a yellow no pitch there once again for Peter. Saltwater Swell is not looking too good lately. Anthony reaching over immediately to the life pad. Send the 3 damage. 12 plays 21 now.
I really want to see how Peter utilizes his allies in this game. Is he just going to let them sit there and rot, or is he planning on playing them out?
Peter has gambled twice on being able to use this Saltwater Swell, and he's left with 2 reds in hand. There's a red Tipple and a red Conquer of the High Seas. It might even be an IP penalty. I think he has to pitch these 2 cards into a gold here, but then he would just be drawing a Sea Legs to Arsenal?
To maybe break the last gold, but then you're out of gold. It's a really tough spot for
Peter. A blue
Peter.
has not gone into the bin.
No.
It's a rough situation, to be sure. He could activate Gravy to discard that Sea Legs.
True. That's a way to kind of...
Oh, no.
Here we go. 3 go again. Activation of the hook here. Golden Tipple, nothing to discard. Peter gives a nod,
Just got in the car for 4.
a knowing nod of defeat as he sends a red Tipple, pitching one of the most powerful cards in the High Seas.
3 gold.
You're rich.
Anthony is not scared of that gold-baited hook.
If I activate this, discard this.
Peter's not done yet, though. He is going to activate Gravy to discard the Sea Legs, create a Gold Kiss Rum for next turn if he can make it there. Anthony, however, 4 cards in the hand, 1 in the arsenal, and only 12 life points to take away from his opponent.
This is a really scary spot for Peter. At least he's got
starting off
blocking
right.
cards, but yeah, that's a great chain opener. One of the best if you're playing Cindra Redline.
Oath of Loyalty, 4 go again. Peter is not scared, not yet at least. Down to 8 he goes after accepting all of that damage. Anthony with plenty of Draconic cards in the hand.
Ooh, that's
not a single one of those is non-Draconic.
It's a scary, scary hand. Anthony just taking it in, reveling what feels like a victory already, enjoying the moment.
This is what Anthony loves to do. He loves to say head jab, head jab, head jab, head jab,
Yeah.
and have a massive turn. Peter blocking out that display loyalty with the Sea Legs. Ignite the follow-up here. 2 go again. No flick as of yet, so we are restarting the Mask of Momentum train. Peter takes it immediately. Down to 6. 18 plays 6. Things are coming up Anthony right here. Kunai of Retribution is free thanks to Ignite. 1 go again.
And that'll be 1 away from a Mask of Momentum trigger again. That thing turns on so quickly as Peter reaches for the last piece of blocking equipment. And there's the flick. He wants to keep the chain alive.
This next attack will threaten Mask of Momentum. Anthony's got 2 cards left. Brand with Cinder Claw is the choice here. 3 go again. He's got plenty of Draconic cards, but if the last one wasn't, Brand with Cinder Claw would make it Draconic.
I blocked 3.
You have 2 cards?
2 cards.
Oh, Lava Burst there.
Lava Burst is the
Ouch.
finish here. Blocking with 2 cards is Peter. At least he was able to find the block value. Next time he might not be so lucky, but Anthony does not have an arsenal for the next turn.
And this Gravy Bones, I can't get over the fact that he has not played a single ally all game.
Peter is just going to activate Compass and pass. Excuse me, activate Gravy as well. Probably an ally on top. No, it's an Avast Yi. So he's going to throw out Oyston and swing Oyston.
Okay. Not nothing.
Yep.
It's definitely not nothing.
Please block, please. No.
When he dies, he makes gold?
Yeah.
Anthony confirming that Oyston creates a gold on death.
No bonus.
Yeah.
I can't, yeah, Anthony takes that 3 right away. He just wants to keep the pressure on. Peter is happy to establish an ally that swings without a cost. So essentially Anthony is on a 5-turn clock if he ignores everything that Peter's putting down. Pain in the backside, 3 go again. On hit, flick, but without a destruction of that dagger. Peter's got to get rid of this ally in hand. Oh, but he's got 3 allies in hand, only able to get rid of 1. This is doom right here, folks. 3 go again, covered up by Loot the Hold.
And this is kind of what you do as the aggro deck. Once you get the Gravy Bones on the back foot, you just kind of keep throwing stuff until they say, oops, drew no blocks, and die.
Yeah, when this hits.
I can't even play that.
Okay.
There you go. There.
Okay.
Okay. Peter nicely allowing Anthony to take that play back because it wouldn't have had go again because he had not yet played a Draconic card. So Brand with Cinderclaw is going to connect Peter down to 2. Next attack is Draconic, which happens to be Draconic anyway. It's hot on their heels. 3 go again on hit mark. Peter has the defense reaction, Blood in the Water, which is not going to get as much value as you would like here because normally that card is blocking for 6. In this case, it's just head jab, head jab. Anthony has flicked a dagger. Down to 1 is Peter, and it's all over. It goes the way of the Dracai of Retribution. Draconic seems to be the answer to the undead.
Yeah, and I think that's what people thought going into US Nats as well, and that was sort of what people believed to get through all these Gravy Bones. But, I mean, at least at AGE, that seems to be the answer. I'm still waiting to see how the rest of the world falls, and if it is true that, in fact, if you want to win against Gravy, you bring the Cindra. So far, today, it seems like that's the answer.
Like a hot knife through gravy, Anthony DT Zichella ascends to the finals of the first AGE that he has been able to attend this season. He's not just a father anymore, folks. He is a fab professional, and he's here to show what he's got. We'll be back with an interview with Anthony Zichella after this, and then more Flesh and Blood in the finals of June AGE after this.
Welcome back, folks. We are joined here with the winner of our last match, Anthony Sandwich Salesman Zichella. How are you feeling winning and going into the finals?
Cindra's good, man. Cindra's good when there's a bunch of gravy.
Yeah.
I tweeted the other day, I love seeing the hype for gravy because it just makes my life easier.
You've been a die-hard Draconic Ninja player for as long as I've known you, pretty much. I mean, maybe just dabbling in and out of other heroes, but just so much. I mean, even back in the day, it was just Fi.
Like before Fi, me and my friend Joe really developed it. I just tuned it a bit. We used to play this Katsu deck before Fi was a deck, and it was just all head jabs, stubby hammers, and Artivore with no combo cards. So I've been playing Fi since 2 years before Fi was a thing.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's fine.
I mean, obviously, you are eating these Gravy Bones alive. I have a couple questions about that. The first is, I know the Gravy Bones know that they have a weak matchup into you. Have you faced any thus far that have anything figured out that makes you feel a little bit uncertain about the way that you can beat them?
I would tell you, but then they'll beat me.
Fair. So what you'll say is that there's something they can do?
There's some. I'll talk. I'll spill the beans.
Okay.
Okay. So if you can get multiple of, is it the Saw dude that prevents one? That makes stuff really weird and awkward.
Because Peter didn't play any allies. I don't know if you noticed that.
The problem with playing allies out is it gives me free mask triggers.
Yes.
So like I am losing a tiny bit of value, but you're taking a bunch of damage to play the dude out and attack with him. and I'm just making it back up.
Yeah.
And Peter's deck is, I think, the same deck or very similar to Yuki's deck. So like, he, I think, is better equipped to just like head jab, CNC.
Yeah, there's that aggressive potential that I think can stand against basically what you said is there's the head jabs, but then there's the disruption that really throws you off. And we saw him hit with the Conqueror in the middle of that game, and you're just like, I'll take it.
Well, I had an Oath the turn before that I had to Arsenal. I had to pocket it because I couldn't play it. I think I might have drawn it off Mask. And so, like, it's just what it is. And I totally forgot that my boots don't hit the whatever that card is.
Yeah,
that
we
comes
saw
in
you
for
make
4.
a resource.
I was like, oh, wait, this doesn't work. So I, like, played the Ancestral for no reason. And I was like, I'm going to get flamed for this. But, yeah, I think try not to give them too many targets. Or if you give them targets, make sure it's enough targets that it just nerfs their whole team so you can play catch-up.
Yeah.
Disruption is really good. I know a lot of Gravies are not playing a bunch of CNCs. I think they're really strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
so that's it, right? Like disruption is sort of
you
the
have to
sauce.
disrupt.
Okay.
I played one at Nats and he almost killed me, and it's because he went like turn 2 boat, turn 3 boat, turn 4 CNC, turn 5 boat. Like
I see.
You kind of have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about your perspective on it because I know that it is known as a very tough matchup for the Gravy. So I was thinking, you know, have you faced any that were tough? It sounds like boat into boat is the best way to go.
The thing is, it's like you can kind of get away. Like the games kind of go parity for a while, but once they're under 10, they just can't really catch up. So like as long as they're not super far ahead, like you just take everything face. Like you don't really even block. And it's a good idea that I found to not even Arsenal against them. Just throw your damage, because if their only saving grace is Arsenal destruction and you just nerf their turn, it's a good thing.
Yeah, that has been the theme of the day. I've seen so many players just play their whole hand out and not Arsenal. And it just seems like since that's what hits, their disruption is Arsenal hate. If you just stay off of it, you've stripped their deck of the disruption, which is the thing that they have against you. So I really liked the plays where you didn't Arsenal, and I think that is a smart way to play around it.
I think you have to.
Yeah. Let's see. We hit so the other question I had for you was, what about the other matchups? You're playing Cindra. It's not just Gravy Bones out there.
So I played Acilio. Acilio always, technically we're favored into them, but the guy I played on Acilio is a really good Wizard player.
Yep.
So
Ryan Brown, right?
Yeah. So I won that game, but then I saw him beat Travis. He had a couple hands where he just didn't have blocks, so he just got punished for it. And then I played into Travis. Travis won the dice roll. I offered to just go get lunch with him and flip a coin, but he didn't want to.
Sure.
So he made me go first. I had a pretty trash first turn, but then I had an insane 7-card turn with Mask Trigger. I had Loyalty? Yeah, Loyalty from Beyond the Grave at the beginning of the turn. And then I went, I can never remember the name of it, the head jab that buffs Draconic cards.
Yeah.
So I went, at the end of the turn, it was
Fire
head jab.
Tenant?
It was Fire Tenant, break Fealty, snatch, Draconic Snatch for 6, hit, break Boots. I flicked knives in there to make a resource, swung the dagger, and then lava bursted, and he just died.
That's a good turn.
So I high rolled basically.
Yep. I mean, that's an aggro mirror, right? That's what
100%.
you have to do. And then for the rest of the field, I guess the question that I am personally trying to answer, because this is a brand new meta, is, okay, I've decided I want to bring Cindra. I want to prey on the Gravies. What are the matchups I want to dodge?
You don't want to play Prism.
Okay.
Prism can be really hard. She's really fast. You don't have space for poppers. You don't really have to worry about ALS loop because it takes too much to set up. But like they can just race you, and their allies and spectral shields are a problem. Who else is a problem? Assassin can be weird.
Yeah, the disruptive decks, right? That seems to be tough.
Stuff that disrupts you and stuff that goes above rate. Because Cindra is kind of a fair deck, as far as damage output goes.
As long as they can block the Mask of Momentum effectively, I agree with that completely. Yeah. So that's the meta. I think what I would like to ask now is a little outside of the realm of Flesh and Blood. Do you have any shout-outs, and can you please explain to me why you are the sandwich salesman?
So at Nats, I'm a high school teacher, and I'm super poor right now because we don't get paychecks in the summer. So at Nats, I was like, how can I pay for my trip? So I brought a cooler, and I just made sandwiches for the judges.
That's awesome.
I'm not naming names. I don't want anybody to get in trouble, but I just made sandwiches for a bunch of people, and they helped me pay for gas. That was cool.
Thanks for your contribution. And then those of you buying sandwiches, thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, unnamed friends. And then shout out, fun story. Shout out to my father-in-law. I got home. He's like, how'd it go? I was like, It went okay. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. He's like, what do you get if you win? And I was like, 50 grand, I think. And he goes, 50 grand? He's like, you can make more money with slots. He's like, don't play in the tournament. Just play slots next time. So if I win this tournament, even though I'll be proud of myself, I know he'll be disappointed that I'm not at Morongo or...
You can make more money with slots.
That's what the man said.
That is a hot take.
I believe him.
I think it's technically true, and technically true is the best kind of true. But, oh, man.
What are you going to do?
I think you have a much better shot at winning Nats than winning 50 grand at slots. That's my take.
Not me.
Not you.
Shout out to my wife and my baby. That's
awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you guys at home. We've got one more game of Flesh and Blood coming up very soon, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you shortly.